All right. Well, first of all, I want to welcome you all to our second monthly Coachmetrix Best Practices Masterclass. And we started this in March, and this will be a monthly routine for us. And before we jump in, really, I just want to say very sincerely that my greatest hope is that you and all of your loved ones are safe and that you're healthy. I know that the last month has there's been a lot of change for all of us in our world. So much has changed in just 3 or 4 weeks. So I hope that everyone in your home is safe and healthy. This masterclass is really for us to come together as coaches, as leaders in this world. And I think at a time when our world needs us more than ever, the crisis that our leaders are going through, that our clients are going through, they need us more than ever. And sometimes our clients go immediately to how can we cut deep and fast so that we survive, and they forget to think about other perspectives and points of view. So I hope that in today's masterclass and all of these masterclasses, we really are doing 3 things. Number one, we're building some community between us so that we can form deeper relationships and support each other as we're building our practices. Number 2, we're just sharing some best practices and insights with some like-minded coaches who want to make a positive impact in this world. And number 3, learn more about how you can leverage Coachmetrix in your world so that you can maximize and optimize your coaching engagement. So that's really the point of these best practices masterclasses. These are exclusive to Coachmetrix subscribers. That's part of the benefit of being a subscriber. We do have a few guests on the call today, but just a really big welcome to everybody. And again, I hope that everyone is being safe and is healthy. I'm going to go off of video and jump into our agenda for today. Here's our roadmap. First of all, we're going to do a quick check-in. What are you noticing out there? I think there's, if you think about it, how many people we have on this call right now, about 20, and we've got 60 or so that registered for it today. And we are calling in from all around the globe. It might be nice to hear from a few people just to notice, just to share some of the observations that we're noticing out there. How are you doing? And maybe even how are you responding to some of the things that are happening? So that's the first thing that we're going to do. Secondly, we're going to go through some strategies on how to leverage Coachmetrix in a virtual world. I know that most of us, if we weren't already coaching virtually, our coaching and training programs are now being forced to be virtual. And so there's a lot of aspects of Coachmetrix that you can use to very seamlessly transition into this virtual world. And then really throughout the session today, I would love for people to jump in and share ideas, share insights, share learnings, whether it's related to Coachmetrix or not. I do want these to be interactive. So please jump in whenever you want. In the meantime, please check just a little bit of ground rules for today. Check your microphone. Please make sure you're on mute so we get a nice crisp recording. And then when you're ready to speak, just take yourself off of mute. All right, so let's jump in. I'd love to just open it up to folks. What are you noticing out there, or what are you doing? How are you responding? How are you doing with all of this change and that we're all experiencing? I'd love to hear from a couple of folks. Maybe let us know your name, where you're from, and what you're experiencing. Who wants to jump in?
I'll take a shot at it.
All right. Is that Frank? Is that Frank?
Yeah. I'm looking at Frank Rowe. I thought he gonna go first. And when you say what are we noticing, or you mean what are we noticing as a coach, or what are we noticing as a person of what's going on with coronavirus? What do you mean by what are we noticing?
Yeah, I think, anything, it could really be any of that, Frank. What are you noticing maybe with your clients? What are you noticing in the marketplace? What are you noticing in business? What's a point of view that you have that you could share with the group?
I think from a business standpoint, I'm really not making any change. That's not me.
We're getting some background noise. Magali Toussaint, I'm having a hard time putting you on mute. Maybe you could put yourself on mute. Thank you. That's helpful. Sorry, go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, I'm from a business perspective, I'm not noticing really any changes because when I coach and when my team coach, we use Zoom and we work with our coaches around the globe. So this is not anything new for us. I think what I'm noticing is about people. For example, my daughter is in Cincinnati. She's a nurse heading up a corona task force in Ohio. So, I'm concerned about her. I'm concerned about some of the senior members of my family. My wife's grandmother will be 99 in 3 months. And, I'm noticing that, that this thing is not just, this virus don't care who you are, where you are, it's going to bite you in the butt if you don't do what you're supposed to be doing. So how am I doing? I'm doing great. Having fun. I'm enjoying doing what I do. How am I responding? I'm responding very well. I'm a military commanding officer. I've seen things worse than this before. I've been through combat, so it's I'm just hoping that everybody else take this thing serious so we can have a lot more people safe and a lot more people not die. We don't need to have folks just dying out because they're doing stupid stuff. So that's my response to this whole thing. So
thank you for that, Frank. I think that's one of the great things about coaching. I think is you can have a very intimate, connected coaching relationship in a virtual environment. So for many of us on the call, there's been a very seamless transition with coaching clients. I'm guessing other people, including myself, have had different experiences too. But listen, we're all called to draw upon what we've been through in the past and the resilience that we've built, and then to project that strength and help our clients build through that too. Thanks, Frank. Let's hear from maybe one or two other folks. What are you noticing? Maybe you've got a different point of view than what we heard from Frank Payne.
Hi, you hear me?
Hi. Yes. Who is
Hi.
this?
Yeah, it's Magali.
Hey, Magali. How are you?
Yes. I'm doing great. I'm in the Netherlands, but I'm French. And I have a very, global experience. I lived also in UK, and I'm from France. So for me, I see this as a really opportunity for people to really jump into this global way of working, virtually. But I've also seen that people are challenged, like also emotionally, psychologically. I'm an only child, so basically growing up, I was a lot inside by myself. So being inside confined is nothing difficult for me. I'm like, okay, let's find something to do. But I noticed that people like who are alone or have psychological issues, it's a bit more difficult. But also what I see is this trend of working from home. A lot of coaches, a lot of trainers offer subjects on working from home, how to deal with home, like, all of this. But the thing is, what I notice is that people are not very specific on this. So working from home, but it's really about focusing on your target market. Mine is global leadership. So I really focus on more like, okay, how can you help them to be more effective? So I see the trend of everybody's trying to jump into this, also trying to keep their sanity, not only their physical health well and not being sick, but also the mental health. So as coaches, we can really help clients to get like to be okay, to feel okay, to use this as an opportunity to move forward and to find new ways of working and being. So this is what I see and this is what I notice. And for us as coaches, one last thing is I've been like for the last 2 months, because last year I had a baby, and the last 2 months I've been transitioning my business, pushing my niche a bit more. And when it came, I was like, oh, that's really, I'm not going to have a lot of clients. It's more quiet now. I lost like a client on travel industry. And I was like, oh, that's a really great opportunity. So finally, I can really transition my business, put a bit more virtual work, So I'm not going to say I was really happy, but I was like, oh, finally I have a time to sit down and transition my business and offer something different. So it calls for us. It's a time of transformation. Yeah.
Yes.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And I just want to reiterate some of the things that you said, because this was really beautiful. It's a time for us to move forward, help our clients find new ways of being and working. And that whole concept of moving forward, I think, summarizes really well what we do as coaches. It is a time of transformation. So thank you for that reminder. I'm going to keep going. Please feel free to jump in when you can and with any questions or insights. The first thing I want to remind you of is we built this platform years ago, before any of the crisis that we're in now, because we saw trends in the marketplace where we knew that we had to start getting action plans online. We knew that clients were becoming less dependent on paper and pencil, if you will, and we're looking for cloud-based solutions, and also that the measurement and data was becoming more and more important in coaching. And I'm a coach. That I have a company called 512 Solutions, and we built this for our own clients because we found gaps in our own methodologies. So the system is really well positioned to help you in today's environment, where if you're already coaching virtually, great. There's some good features here on Coachmetrix that will help you. And if you're not, if you do a lot of your coaching in person, then you already have a platform that you can take advantage of that will help you more seamlessly transition. So part of what I wanted to share today were some strategies on how to use some features in Coachmetrix and how to think about how Coachmetrix can help you in today's environment specifically. And again, as I go through these, please feel free to jump in and share your learnings, your best practices, whether it has to do with Coachmetrix or not. This is really about a coaching conversation and not necessarily just the platform. So the first is, as you're thinking about talking with your clients, is to just think about your messaging. And there's 3 messages that you can share right now, which is, 1, you already have a platform that is designed for coaching in a virtual world. So immediately to your clients, you can let them know if you've got to transition your coaching or your training over to a virtual platform, you already have a platform. And if your clients know that, there'll be a lot of credibility. Number 2, as you can hear from just some of the folks that have already spoken, we coach leaders globally in a virtual environment, and we get great results doing it. And we can have intimate connections, and the list goes on, right? I was coaching a leader, the CEO of a company the other day, and it was just this really beautiful thing. His 4.5-year-old walked into the coaching session with his lunch, and we had this like 45-second exchange with his 4.5-year-old son. And it was a really incredible experience. It was like there was this level of intimacy in that he's inviting me into his home, I'm inviting him into my home, and we can have a deeper level of connection in some ways virtually. So leverage that message or something similar to that, because these are strategies that can help you make the transition. Strategy number 2, and this is more strategy around the technical platform itself. There's several features inside of Coachmetrix that will help you build micro learning courses if you haven't already taken advantage of it. And the primary feature is our resources feature. And what I really like about this is it's a very simple way to get your content online so that it's always accessible by people no matter what device they're using. So some simple tips that you can do are things like copy and paste content that you have from existing materials. Or you can even take a screenshot of images from, let's say, a leadership development workbook that you might have and upload that into a resource. The content and the screenshot really just makes a nice resource. You can add video by doing a couple of things. Number 1, maybe there's an existing video on YouTube that you like, a Brene Brown video or a Marshall Goldsmith video. simply copying and pasting the link into a Coachmetrix resource, and you'll have a video that's available in a really nice format. You can also record a video. We're doing a lot of this in Zoom, where we might record a short piece of content in Zoom, upload it to YouTube or to Vimeo, and then link it right into your resource. So one comment here is, in addition to the messaging strategy number one, you can create these micro learning courses that can supplement your coaching, and you can use it as pre-work or post-work, or even maybe it's part of a leadership development program. So Coachmetrix is really two things to think about. One, there are resources, and then you can combine resources that make logical sense into what we call a collection. And this is an example in this screenshot that's here. We have a little mini course on vision and goals, and then there are resources that drop down in this collection feature. So there's a module on crafting your vision, or module on creating goals, a module on alignment mistakes leaders make, a module on bud to boss, and a summary. So that's strategy number two. Let me just pause here for a minute, because I think this is an important strategy. Has anyone done anything like this, or anything with content online, whether it's through Coachmetrix or otherwise? And or do you have any questions on how it works within Coachmetrix? I'll just open it up for any questions or thoughts.
Yeah, Sal, this is Frank, the
Hey,
other
Frank.
Frank.
The other Frank.
Yeah, I have not done this in Coachmetrix, but it's a good idea. But I teach a graduate class at Drexel University, and so I use Blackboard.
Nice.
And there's a platform within Blackboard called VoiceThread, where you can upload videos and you can provide content and online, tools, PowerPoint slides, and whatever. So I have that skill set from doing that through Drexel, but this is a great idea to do the same thing through Coachmetrix. I didn't know that was really something to do, that I could do.
Yeah, I'll just show you a quick example. These are resources in Coachmetrix. And see, it built very simple to build a resource. You just click on the plus button, add a title, add a description. You can drag and drop those screenshots or insert a link for the video. And then, so for example, a SWOT analysis. This is just a screenshot from an existing workbook we have with some text that we added. Or here is, back to Marshall Goldsmith, here's some text that we added, an Excel spreadsheet that we uploaded with a daily questions template, if some of you are familiar with his daily questions methodology, and a video of Marshall that's on YouTube. That takes about 37 seconds to build. So there's nothing complicated about this, but you can get content into Coachmetrix and use it to supplement your virtual offerings. And then you can combine those resources into collections. So this is a Coaching Team Members Effectively collection. And when you pull those resources together, they just create these nice little modules. And you've got this nice mini course that might include some text, a video, and maybe an upload or reflection questions. So yeah, check it out, take a look at it. I think it's an easy way to get content online. You don't have to be an e-learning expert by any means. And it's a nice way to supplement your virtual offering.
Hey, Laura Schwartz, I just have a quick question on that.
Yes, of course.
I wasn't familiar with this part of the platform. Can you create custom resource centers for, let's say you have a certain coaching client, like create just a customized library just for one person?
Oh yeah, so that's a really great question. So the way that this works, Laura, is this library that you're seeing is only visual to the coach. And then let's say I've got a coaching client that I want to send this coaching collection to. I just select the client, and only Greg in this case will receive that module. So the bottom line is, yes, you can select and choose which resource goes to which client, and everything stays in your library until you share whatever it is that you want to share.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. You're welcome. All right. Strategy number 3.
Sorry.
Oh, yes,
Um,
please.
I'm wondering, like, how practically can you use these resources for different things? So, for instance, the first thing could be like a mini course, using it as a lead magnet. I'm not really sure how it would be used. But second, for the group coaching, I'm wondering, can we just send the content to everyone? So it's really like practically, how would you use it for a group coaching, or even like only an online course? Like it's only online course. So maybe it's 3 questions in one, but it's more like how
Yeah.
practically can you use it for these 3 things?
Yeah. Well, let me see if I can answer that. Let's say you set up a project and you've got three people in your group coaching project. Just add those participants in there. I can choose to send those resources to all 3 of those people at the same time,
Yeah.
so they've got the same exact resource, or I can choose to send it to just one person. Maybe Greg needs something different than Susan. So supports group coaching really well. And in fact, part of the work that we do is leadership development, and we'll often have 8 or 12 or 15 people in a cohort. And we'll use the resources feature to share a single tool or create a mini course. Or in this case, we've created a Start Here Welcome coaching kit that includes a pre-message. It includes a video that we've recorded and put on YouTube. It includes a roadmap of what our coaching engagement is going to look like. It includes our coaching agreements. It includes some templates for our 360 process. This is the way we start out almost every single coaching engagement. So all I have to do is build this, change the name of the person I'm sending it to, and then send it to that person. And I've just optimized how I start any coaching engagement. So you can get as creative as you want in how you use those resources, and they're very simple tools to build.
Okay.
I'm going to keep going with a few more ideas. Jump in if you got more questions or thoughts, maybe even ideas on how you're using any of these features. The next feature or strategy, if you will, is especially if your business is going through a transformation right now and in what you're offering, you could think about offering different types of coaching packages. Now, you probably already do this offline, but why not do this online? So your executive coaching, maybe you've got a few coaching sessions a month, a 360 feedback process. Maybe you're still observing leaders in the workplace. And then they've got action planning, behavioral measurement, and online content. Maybe some virtual discussions, like you can use that discussions feature inside of Coachmetrix to check in with your participants in between coaching sessions. Maybe you offer a manager coaching package where you've got some coaching that happens throughout the month. Instead of a 360, you offer a personality style profile. You still offer the action planning, the behavioral measurement, the online content, and virtual discussions feature. And then maybe there's sort of like your bronze level, if you will, online coaching package. And this is mostly online coaching as opposed to even using video, where all you have are virtual discussions, and maybe you're sending out some online content using the resources feature, and the participant still creates an action plan, and you check in with them virtually. So I think the opportunity here, and Frank mentioned earlier, Magali mentioned earlier, we're in this time of transformation. Maybe we even think differently about the coaching packages that we offer. And some of those coaching packages are not just virtual, but they could even be just online. So there's another strategy. Certainly open that up for questions or thoughts, or maybe you've done something differently. How are you differentiating your coaching packages? Okay, I'll keep going. If you've got any thoughts, let me know. There's another feature inside of Coachmetrix where you can build a nurture sequence. And we created about a year ago, we created a tool called templates, and templates allow you to build a template, a discussion template that you might want to use frequently in multiple coaching engagements. So as an example, I will typically send out a pre-coaching session reminder before every coaching session. Now, most coaches do this with a Word document, but the problem with a Word document is you have to email that, they have to download it, they save it, they fill it out, they save it again, they upload it and email it back to your coach. Why not create a template? And the beautiful thing about the template is it just pre-populates your discussion, and then it's just very quick and easy to send. But you could also create a series of templates, and then you can schedule those templates to go out in a sequence that could be dripped over time throughout your coaching engagement. Or perhaps maybe you're coming up to the end of a coaching engagement and you want to stay in touch with your client, and you can schedule a series of messages or discussions that go out to your client that kind of nudge them over time to maybe stay connected with their goals, or follow up with a team member, or apply a tool that they learned in their coaching with you. So these templates, combined with being able to schedule discussions, really form a nice little strategy to add some depth to your virtual coaching offering. Let me open this one up for conversation as well, or questions, because this feature is often missed by a lot of our subscribers. Is anyone using this feature?
How can you automate this? I mean, can it be sent like automatically before the session? Because I'm using something different. I'm using Acuity, and with Acuity I have like Zapier, so it sends some things automatically.
Yep.
But I'm really wondering, can you automate this? So in a sense that
Yeah, so when you go to create a discussion, and let's say you've got some templates built, in this case, the coaching session reminder, I can update elements of the template that just pre-populated, and did I spell your name right? And then what I can do is I can schedule it so that they go out at some future date. So in terms of automating it, you can schedule it in advance, and then it'll get sent out at that future date.
Okay.
So I have a question. This is Guillermo.
Hey, Guillermo.
This is great. I think it's a great idea to combine the templates with the scheduling of discussions, but you can do that only at the client level. Can you do that with a group, with a whole company with 5 clients there, or just at the client level?
Yeah, you're correct, Guillermo. This can only be done at the client, the participant level. So we do have it in our development pipeline to be able to send resources, to be able to schedule resources. At this point, we don't know when that'll be built, but to your point, that is done on an individual participant basis.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, this template idea was Guillermo's idea. I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, Guillermo, you shared that idea with us, and that's really what prompted us to build this feature. Another strategy that we think about is leveraging the action plan feature. So there's a couple things about the action plan feature that can really be interactive, that will help you in a virtual world. Number one, you can add comments in your action plans. And so it's a great way for you to just ask some great coaching sessions, questions as you're coaching your clients online. Let's say they build that first draft action plan. You can provide some feedback. Maybe they're moving that action plan forward. You can ask questions like, hey, what was your intent? What were you focused on trying to do in these last 30 days? What actually happened? What did you learn? And what's next for you? That back to Frank from earlier today, the after action assessment questions that originally developed from the U.S. military are great coaching questions, but the comments box in the action planning feature is a really nice feature to engage people. Above the action plan, there's also a button that says share action plan. And this feature often gets missed as well. And what this allows either the coach or the participant to do is to share their action plan. It basically emails the action plan out to anybody that the coach or the participant wants to share that action plan with. So in our coaching engagements, we will often have a meeting between the coach, the participant, and then that participant's manager. And so sharing that action plan out to that participant's manager helps us calibrate to make sure the participant is working on the right goals. So using that action planning feature to be interactive, to check in with your clients between coaching sessions, and to share that action plan can be a nice little add-on to your virtual coaching offering.
Just regarding the confidentiality, because when usually I work with a company, I just, don't share this kind of things, because I think there's an issue of confidentiality. I mean, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think it doesn't happen automatically, so you can choose to use the feature or not. I agree. I think you have to have clear agreements with your coachee on whether you're going to share this or not. This does not give people access into Coachmetrix. It is quite literally exporting and emailing the action plan. So one, clear agreements with our coachees always. Two, we always want to be clear in what confidentiality means in that particular coaching engagement. And then three, always being clear about what the coach is sharing with anybody else regarding the coaching engagement. So I completely agree and respect that idea around confidentiality. We have to be really clear. Strategy number 6, create that coaching welcome kit. I just showed that to you earlier, and this is a snapshot of it. But we've got this message, it's already pre-built, and it gives our coachees very specific steps on how we're going to start the coaching engagement. Hey, step 1, go in and look at the video that Sal created. Step 2, review your coaching agreements that we talked about in our intake session. Step 3, identify your C360 raters and send it out to Cynthia. Cynthia's on the call right now. And step 4, upload a profile image to your user settings. So very simple way to start your coaching engagement. I've seen other coaches add different tools, add a video. It just adds a really nice personal touch. And in the video that we've created, we give our participants some tips. Hey, here's how you can get the most out of your coaching engagement. Schedule 15 minutes before and after every coaching session so that you've got time to prepare and reflect. Things like that. However you want to prepare your coachees, creating something like a welcome kit is a nice way, again, to add to that virtual coaching offering that you might be building. Questions, thoughts? What are you doing that might be interesting, unique, different with your virtual coaching offerings? All right, I'm going to keep going. Number 7, measure results. And this is one of the core features and primary reason why we built Coachmetrix to begin with. Not many coaches actually measure their results. This is a great way to differentiate your offering from most coaches. And the tool doesn't just measure, like you can bring these results into your coaching sessions. So I just did this with a client the other day. We were really focused on helping him respond to the urgency of the coronavirus. And they've got some tough messaging that's coming out that they needed to work, that this person needed to work through. And we also took 10 minutes of our coaching engagement to also remain focused on the bigger picture and the goals that he has. And he just got through his 3rd round of coach pulse feedback. And we went through the after action the after action assessment process. We looked at the comments, we looked at the data, we talked about, and we literally had Coachmetrix open on our Zoom screen so that we could both see the data together. What did you intend to do in these last 30 days? What happened? We explore that gap. What did you learn? What's next for the next 30 days? And then in 10 minutes, he's got really clear actions on what he's going to do next to move his goals forward. So the measurement helps us have those types of conversations and understand how people are perceiving his leadership behaviors. And again, the whole idea behind the measurement is really two parts. Number one, to help that leader continue to change behavior. And number two, the follow-up also helps that leader change perceptions, how other people see that leader. And oftentimes those perceptions are harder to change than the actual behaviors themselves. So again, with the pulse feedback feature, you have the ability to automate that process where you can send that pulse feedback request out every 30 days or every 45 days or every 60 days, whatever your methodology is. Or you can send it out manually. Either you or the coachee can click on the send now button and send out that pulse feedback on demand. Let me open this up. Any questions about measuring results and or how are you measuring results on your engagement?
Hi, Sal. This is John Bentley.
Hey, John.
Yeah, quick question on that round one of the measure results.
Yes.
Is that something you do immediately after the goals are established to create a baseline? Or do you normally wait a couple of months after the goals are created and shared with the supporters before you do your first round of measurement?
I think, John, you can do either. What we typically do, and this doesn't mean that's how you have to do it, is we typically will go through a 360 process first. It's either a series of confidential interviews or a 360 tool. And then we create our goals from the tool. And so we narrow all that data down into 1, 2, or 3 things. And then from there, we start scheduling our pulse feedback. So if we're running a 6-month leadership development program or executive coaching program, and we're starting with a 360 process, we may not kick off any pulse feedback until month 2 or 3.
Perfect, Sal. Thank you so much, because I've got the goals being established now and was just clear. So thanks. That cleared it up for me. Bye-bye.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Thanks, John.
So I have a question.
Yes, Guillermo.
I remember you gave me a couple of suggestions a few months ago about best practices to have raters answer the pulse feedback. And one of them was to send it every 6 weeks instead of every month. And the other one to have the coachee to warn people that the pulse feedback is coming so they participate. But I'm still struggling with many of my clients on having their raters to participate. They get low participation in the pulse feedback. So any other recommendations to increase that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think part of what we've learned in the process and also part of this stakeholder-centered coaching methodology is, number one, when that leader gets clear with their goals, and it sounds like you're doing this already, Guillermo, when you add those supporters into the system, even before you add those supporters into Coachmetrix, we highly recommend that the leader has a conversation with those supporters to enroll them in the process. And it's a simple conversation. It's, hey, I'm going through this leadership development process. Will you please be a supporter? Here's what that means. I'm going to ask you for ongoing feedback and feed forward about my performance. Here are the goals that I'm working on. So that initial enrollment process, sort of forces the leader to go public with his or her goals, and then verbally engage that supporter to be part of the process. So that's step one. The second step is to keep that supporter enrolled throughout the engagement by every 30 days going back to that supporter and engaging with them. And mostly that engagement should be in person or on the phone or virtually somehow, but going back to that supporter and saying, hey, I've been working on being more open with my communication. How have I done in the last 30 days? What are your ideas for the next 30 days? And oh, by the way, thank you. Please keep responding to these pulse feedback surveys because they're really helping my leadership development. So I think it's the engagement between the supporter and between the participant and the supporter that's going to drive better feedback or more consistent feedback from your raters. Those are the two things that we found. And yeah, to your point as well, Guillermo, we kind of usually are sending our pulse feedbacks out about every 45 days.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm putting like a new process in place with leaders. I'm starting with the assessment. I'm also starting now verbal feedback. So confidential. I'm going to interview people with a check on the behavior. So I see this is a really good opportunity to just also interview them, but also introduce them to the tools. How would you go about that? So I would just have like, a confidential 360 conversation with people who will assess the leader or the behavior of the leader. How would you just introduce also the tool?
Yeah. So for the supporters, I think you can just introduce the tool to say, hey, you're going to get a survey that comes out every X number of days, however the frequency is on your projects. Please take a couple of minutes every 30 or 60 days, whatever that time frame is, to complete that survey. Those supporters don't have to log into Coachmetrix to complete the survey. A link goes to their email. The supporters will click on the link and take the survey like they might with any other survey tool. So there's not much for the supporter doesn't have to learn anything about the Coachmetrix platform to use it. But yeah, I think in those confidential interviews, you could let them and help them set expectations on what their role is going to be ongoing, so that they know they're going to receive a link to take a survey every 60 or 90 or 45 days.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. There's also a feature inside of Coachmetrix right above your supporters. Once those supporters are added into the system, there's a send supporter email. This is, again, a little known feature. And you have, when you click on that, there's three options. One, you can send the supporter a welcome message and you can customize it. Number two, you could send the supporter a follow-up message. There's a preloaded follow-up message that says something like, hey, thank you. Your feedback's important to me. Keep giving me feedback. And then three, you can select an option to create a custom message. So engaging your supporters is also a nice thing to add into your virtual coaching offering. I'd love to open it up for any other questions. We're right at 12:45. I'm going to hang on if people want to keep chatting. And for folks that need to sign off, please know that I'll send out a recording. So you'll have this if you want, or feel free to share it with other subscribers. Number two, if there are topics that you want to make sure that we get to on these monthly best practices calls, shoot me an email directly. I'd love to make sure that these calls are relevant to your practice, whether it has to do with Coachmetrix or marketing or responding in the world that we're in today. So please let me know what's important to you. But I'm going to stay on the line for another few minutes. How are you all navigating this world that we find ourselves in today? What are you learning? What are you doing differently?
Hey, Sal, this is David.
Hey, David.
I actually had a question about
Sure.
some of your thoughts around offering different types of packages.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any plans in the pipeline around some kind of paywall for subscriptions? Currently, I think it would have to be they pay you through some other portal and then you link them into Coachmetrix. But is there any kind of integration in the works or something like that?
There's not in the near term. It's a great question. Yeah, there's no integration in the works in the near term. So you would have to use another system to collect those payments if you had, some kind of online offering or a system that was really more sort of subscription based.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I've got a follow-up to that. For some of those, let's say, less interactive engagements, so maybe the lower tiered options, what exactly is the coachee able to see within Coachmetrix, and are there options to let them see certain things versus other things?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So when a coachee signs into Coachmetrix for the first time, and if you're not using the pulse feedback, the measurement process, they will never see all of this data that shows up on the dashboard. Basically, what they'll see is their action plan and any discussion features that you use. So if you're differentiating, like package A includes behavioral measurement, then the coachee would see this as soon as the behavioral measurement starts. But package B it's just the action plan and some content. We're not going to measure behavior. The coachee will never see any of the behavioral measurement.
I see. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. And you can also differentiate, maybe even through some of the resources that you provide. The coachee will only see the resources that you share with them. Really good questions. Thanks, David. It's some good thought to think about how do we differentiate packaging. Susan, did you have a thought or question?
I just had a quick question for you. Following up on the action plan feature,
Yeah.
when you share the action plan with clients, does it also share the comments they've written underneath them?
It does not. Here's exactly what it shares. When you click on Share Action Plan, it will show you what it's going to share. So you'll see exactly what's being sent out. So it shares the goal, it shares the goal statement or the behavioral measurement statement, and then any content in that box. But you'll notice it doesn't share any of the comments that might have gone back and forth between the coach and coachee.
Okay, that's what I needed to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks for
Very good
bringing us
question.
all together too.
Yeah, thank you. We'll keep
Appreciate
doing
it.
it, Susan, and definitely let me know if there's other topics you want to cover.
Will do.
Does anybody else have any other thoughts or questions? Jacqueline, I think you've got some thoughts.
Yeah. Hi, Sal. This has been terrific, just like last
good.
month's. Want to make maybe a couple quick comments. I as well would love it if you all down the road can make the scheduled discussion / template not just at the participant level. I tend to use post-session notes, and my clients love it that they're not getting a document and it's just all there. And while the content obviously will be different for each session, I follow a similar practice in terms of the elements that are in post-session notes, as well as what I send them 48 hours before session. What's the most important thing that we should talk about? I think I saw that via Coachmetrix.
Yes, the question, yeah.
So I would love it if that could be something not just at the participant level. And then the second comment, I just think this is brilliant in terms of a welcome package within Coachmetrix. The busy leaders we're working with who are in healthcare, who are literally frontline with this.
Right.
They've been getting our agreements, as a document. They've been getting maybe summary notes if they want them, sometimes there. But even just what the coaching is, they're not getting it early enough. And if they are, it's in their inbox. So of course, we are really happy to have this, and something I'm going to do with my folks going forward is have that as a kit. So they have it all there in one place and aren't having to chase up, disparate emails. So I wanted to thank you for showing us that feature.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you and or others come up with, cool ways to use any of these features that we hadn't thought about, please let us know, because this is a good community to share those ideas with.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jacqueline.
Sal?
Hey, Frank? Yeah.
Yeah, hi. So I was looking more at the marketing side of things and business development purposes. Have you ever used Coachmetrix to give people like a little tease of what it looks like to try it themselves, or to get some sort of closer sense of the functionality beyond doing like a web demo? Or other ways to market it, because it's such a clear differentiator in the marketplace. The 360 feedback is probably the most, in my opinion, one of the most valuable parts of it. And so just thinking about that from a straight up marketing standpoint, I'm still trying to come up with thoughts and ideas for doing that before they become coachees, not after they are
Right.
coachees.
Well, we've got Robin reminded me, and I almost forgot to mention this today. We've got some resources that we have available that we can share with you. Some folks have received this in the past, but we're going to build an internal page on Coachmetrix. But we've got, for example, a pitch deck. We've got a proposal template. We've got a logo for you that you could put on your website as an authorized Coachmetrix partner, and some other resources.
Right.
So we'll get those to you hopefully at some point next week. In the meantime, even if we don't build something internally and it takes us 2 weeks, we can still get those to you.
That would be great.
That's one. The other thing too is, I mean, I love your idea of like, how do we pitch this, or how do we really differentiate it? We put some in the proposals that we build. We have like an entire page typically on Coachmetrix, what it is and how it differentiates us. So that might be another idea, is to think about putting it into your proposals. Thirdly, using Coachmetrix for our clients is never an option. We just assumptively say, this is the way we coach. And so we're not trying to sell Coachmetrix to our clients, but instead we're trying to say, we measure results, because executives buy results, they don't buy coaching. We measure results, and this is how we do it, and this is how we're different. But we don't typically try to like sell Coachmetrix to our clients.
Yeah.
We just use it.
Right. Okay.
But to your point, I think you're hitting on something really important. If we can use it as a tool to differentiate ourselves in the marketplace, then it really will help your business.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be great. Anything like that would be helpful. And thank you.
Sounds good. We're coming up to 1 o'clock Mountain. My guess is folks have top of the hour calls. I'll hang on here for a couple more minutes. Any other questions or practices that you want to share?
I have a question.
Yes.
I like questions, as you can see. I'm wondering, is there a way to add this as a white label, or even like integrate it in our website, like in a way where it's like, it's like, as Frank said, indeed it's an advantage. I'm already using it in my marketing, but I have a coach, like a platform that I'm using. But is there a way where we can use it as a white label, and also maybe put like an access to our website or something like that, in a way where it's like, sometimes I'm a client, like sometimes I send them something like it's usually the first session and they don't get it, and I'm not really like, I don't like the follow-up, so it's only at this session that I realized they didn't really have it. So I'm really wondering if they have like an access or a whiteboard that I could use. Do you think it's something you could think later, or it's not something in your mind?
Yeah, there's two things that are available to you. One, we can swap out this Coachmetrix logo in the upper left and put your company logo in there for you. So just you just click on the support button and let us know you want to do that, and get us a good version of your logo. So that's one. The second thing that our clients will do is they'll put a login link, and this is something your web designer would have to do, but this is super easy. Just put a login link on your website that says login, and when people click on it, it takes them to projects.coachmetrix.com, and they could sign into Coachmetrix. So that's another way that you could be directing people to your website, but put a login link on your website. And then once they sign in, people would see your logo in the upper left-hand side.
Okay. So I'll just send you an email.
That sounds great.
I'm just going soon, but I want to thank you because I think it's a really good template. Platform. Sorry. I've used some others, and sometimes it's limited by amount of participants and things like that. And the fact that now I think this one is really designed for coaches measuring results, especially what we do is intangible. So I really want to thank you, and I really wish you a really good quarantine or
Yes.
confinement, and just keep being. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And I wish you all safety and health. And we're going to get through this together. Tell me how I can help support this community. We're open to some ideas. In the meantime, we're going to keep doing these best practices, master classes, and we'll see you next month. Stay in touch. Shoot me an email. Give me a call. Happy to connect with you. And thank you so much for being part of the Coachmetrix community. Be well.
Thank you, Sal.
Thanks, Guillermo.